Okay, let's talk about Mr. Dwight D. Eisenhower. So, we have our election. Eisenhower wins the Republican nomination, wins the election, and he is going to take over our foreign policy, as they do. But he has an additional problem to deal with because by 1950, Soviet Union has successfully tested their own nuclear bomb. Now remember, in 1945, 5 years earlier, Truman is up all in Stalin's face about how we've got this powerful new weapon and Stalin doesn't really care. And Truman's like, that's weird. Well, we know he doesn't care because he had spies inside the Manhattan Project. And so 5 years later, we have the Soviet Union with their own nuclear weapons, and now we are in a whole new category of world domination, the nuclear arms race. Because now we need to compete with the Soviet Union to make sure that we can still one up them. And so we want to create a more destructive bomb. We had the uranium bomb, we had the plutonium bomb. But now the Soviet Union has those too. So we need to one up them. So we need to make sure that we can create an even more destructive bomb before the Soviet Union. And so we go all the way up to creating a hydrogen bomb, which is the most dangerous bomb you could think of. And not only is this catastrophic for what it does to the world in terms of like warfare, but we also test our nuclear bombs in the Pacific because we took all that stuff from Japan, we did all that island hopping. And so what better place to test nuclear bombs than places that don't bother us? And so the US spends a lot of time testing nuclear weapons in the Pacific without any regard for the people that live there, for the vegetation that is there, for what it does to the marine life. We just subject all of these people and natural resources to radiation and nuclear fallout that is going to destroy the environment and these people and their lives and eventually kill them for years after we've been done testing them. And the excuse that we didn't know is poor at best, because even if you didn't know, then that also means you shouldn't be testing them where there are people. If you don't know what the effects are going to be on people, you shouldn't be testing things on a large scale where there are people. And so the nuclear arms race leads us to Eisenhower's approach to foreign policy, because the arms race is going to change the way things are. Because as we both build up our arsenals, we start to put missiles places. We have all sorts of new weaponry that we did not have before World War II. We have things like intercontinental ballistic missiles. We have, again, a hydrogen bomb. We need to make sure that this stuff is being dealt with carefully, because now we're in this era of mutually assured destruction, which is exactly what it seems like, or sounds like, is that really nobody should have nuclear weapons. Because if one side has them and the other side has them, when one side goes to use them, the other side will then launch theirs, and both sides will end up destroying each other. So this concept of mutually assured destruction starts under Eisenhower as this theory of like, maybe we all shouldn't have nuclear weapons because all it's doing is making sure that we are all going to die in the end. That's not the goal. It's the goal of war, but not so technically it's not. So the weird thing about that is that it's coming at the same time as the policy of massive retaliation and brinkmanship, where we are spending military money on building up our nuclear power, building up our air power. Massive retaliation is this concept that we are going to instill fear of what we will do to another country if they attack us by building our arsenal up so big that they just are afraid of it before it even gets there. And that is what brinkmanship is. You're going to the brink of war to preserve peace. It is necessary to preserve peace. And the only way you can preserve peace is by making sure that you are willing to die to win peace. Okay? That's crazy. And so again, we have this new kind of foreign policy under Eisenhower where we have massive retaliation, brinkmanship, mutually assured destruction, and we are going to use our intercontinental ballistic missiles to prove our might. Intercontinental ballistic missiles are exactly what they sound like. They are ballistic missiles that can be launched further. So you can install them on, say, Turkish ground and aim them towards the Soviet Union. And then if you ever need to, you can detonate them from somewhere else. And the missiles will launch themselves into the Soviet Union and they will blow up in the Soviet Union, but you, as an American, will be safe from it all because you're on a whole different continent. And we have to make sure with these ICBMs that we have first strike capability. We have to be able to strike first, strike before your enemy, because the only way that you're going to outwin or outlast is if you strike first. But again, then it loops back around to mutually assured destruction, because you know if you strike first, that the other country is returning fire. So the only thing this is really doing for you for first strike capability is that it gives your people an advance warning to go underground and hide in the bomb shelters. Whereas if you are the second to strike, your people don't have as much warning and you'll probably lose more people. But at the end, really everybody's dead, and even the bomb shelters probably aren't going to do that much for you. If you have to live the rest of your life in a bomb shelter underground, what kind of life is that? So under Eisenhower, we're also going to get hot wars in the Cold War period. Again, technically not through the US. We're not fighting, but we are fighting. So we will talk about that in the next video when we visit Korea and then the Middle East. Although the Middle East is going to take us many videos. Korea, small video. The Middle East, since we could be here for like 20 videos, but I will see you for them.